Hey guys! Jess, I think the word you're looking for is Jordanian? Not sure. I just got back from work. See? Work polo. And I have a whole bunch of stories to tell you. A couple of small things, a couple of big things. I promised you a story, I think, in my last video. So I'm gonna give you that. And there were a couple of interesting things that I shall regale you with this evening. But first, I am going to go and change and eat dinner because I haven't done that and I'm really hungry. I have to finish this video. I have a whole bunch of things that I need to tell you guys, but first, yes, I'm talking quieter because yes, you guessed it, it is after 1 in the morning. Yay! Because once I got changed and I went down to eat, and then I was reading. I started reading Pride and Prejudice. Isn't that great? Can you believe I've never actually read it before? I know. I don't know how. I hadn't read that yet. But I hadn't. And I like it. I mean, I knew I liked it. But I like it as a book, too. Which is good. I've got to make this really fast and kind of quiet because I don't want to wake my mom up. And my sister might hear me talking to myself because I think she's still up too, and she'll probably be like, what is she doing? She's so weird, because that happens a lot. I just realized that because I always keep doing these in the middle of the night, you guys keep seeing me in nothing besides like my pajamas. That's a problem that needs to change. The only reason that keeps happening though is because I thought I heard something. I definitely just heard something and I don't know what it was. My house makes weird noises at night. It's like haunted, I think. Kind of like the bus yesterday, which I need to tell you about. I'm gonna continue here quickly and quietly. I have a list. It's a very long list. Jess, your video. I love your hair. It looks so adorable. Oh my goodness. It's so cute. It got little like flippy things. It looks really good. I like it. Also, feet. Feet. Okay. So that happened. I don't really have words for that. I'm speechless. Also, I completely approve of your setting. It's very Nerdfighter with the whole books and office and thing. Very appropriate. I like it a lot. The reason that I've been having to do these videos so late at night is it's finally stopped raining. So now I'm working all the time. Yay! Lots of money, at least. That's a good thing. Speaking of work, children are really interesting, and working with children is also really interesting because you never really know what you're gonna get. So, for example, I was on the little fighter jets for a few days. Do you guys know what they are? They're like the little fighter jets. They go around, you know, in the circle, and they go up and they go down, and they have little guns, and so you can go like bzz, and, you know, pretend to kill things. I'm thinking about this, and I'm realizing that children's rides aren't really all that humane or safe. They don't really promote good values either. Also, random side note, it really annoys me that the jets are called what they are because they're not actually jets. The park officials and management calls them jets and their official name is jets. But on the sign and on the actual like ride itself, it says they're rockets. And everybody that's like a customer calls them airplanes. So we kind of should pick either airplanes or rockets and stick with it because clearly jets is not what they're called. So I was over on the jets, right? I think it was last Saturday I was on this ride, and it was like, you know, a warmer day, and I'm there in the afternoon, right? There was this one girl, I will not forget this for a long time, if ever, because she was just, so it was this little girl, and she, you know, was getting on, and she was all like, I hope mine works, mine better work, blah, 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 right? And so I'm just like, oh, whatever, just pick one. And so she gets in, you know, there were a whole bunch of other kids on, and I turn on the ride, and almost immediately she starts pouting and whining that her buzzer wasn't working. And she's sitting there all grouchy like because her buzzer's not working, and I'm like, oh no, it's the end of the world. Can kids not be creative and make up the noises themselves these days? Like, please, really. So I'm just like, whatever. And her parents were like, oh, don't worry, honey, don't worry, we'll get you a ticket. We're gonna get you on one that works next time, okay? You'll ride again, we'll get you on one that works. And I'm just like, you're not really helping the matter any, because you're just feeding into her, like, demands. I'm just like, no, make her come up with the noises herself. So I can't stop the ride and whatever because there's other kids on, so she rides it out, right? So when the ride stops, she gets out and she's like, oh, I really want this one to work. It better work. Which one works? And, I'm helping the other kids off and whatever. I'm like, all right, honey, go to number 4 or number 5 because I know they work because there were kids in that one on that just a minute ago and they were pressing it and the buzzer was working. She was like, all right, whatever, fine. And so she walks off. I'm assuming that she's going to go over there and find the number and go sit down, right? I'm letting more kids in, and all of a sudden, I hear her start to complain, where are my sunglasses? I can't find my sunglasses, Mommy. I can't find my sunglasses, they're gone. And so they're sitting there, leaning over the fence, all like, where did you have them? Where were you sitting last? Can you find them? Look for them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill you. And so she starts sort of throwing a little hissy fit, because she's all like, I can't find my sunglasses. I have no idea if she had her sunglasses on the ride. How am I supposed to know? There were like 8 kids on the ride. I can't keep track. So she starts to go and get off, all like, oh no, there's a friend getting my sunglasses, yay. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hate you. I just want to go home. And of course I can't say that. And so I go to the parents. I'm like, all right, I can't see the sunglasses anywhere. I'll look around for them. I have to run the ride for these kids. I'll look around once it's done. If I find them, you can come back. You can wait. If you don't come back, I can bring them to the ticket booth. So, I'm starting to tell him this. And fortunately, there was a little boy next to me who, all of a sudden just reached up with these pink sparkly sunglasses in his hand. And fortunately, they were hers. Then she flounced her way back in, snatched the sunglasses out of my hand, and her parents were like, don't lose them now, okay? Don't lose them this time. And so then, guess what she does? She goes back to whining about which buzzer is going to be working. Yeah. So she goes over and she gets into some random one, and I'm just like, honey, I don't know if that one works. Because she's like, does this one work? Does this one work? I want one that works. It better work. I'm just like, I don't know if it works. So I tell her, like, I don't know if this one works. And she goes, well, it better work. And so she starts to climb in. And I was like, listen to me. Do you want one that works? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, in that case, then, sit in that one right there or that one. You can pick, because I know they work. And she's like, yeah, but does this one work? I'm like, I don't know. Go sit number 5. I just have to pick one for her. She's like, but? And I'm like, go. She goes to, actually, it was number 4. And she goes, is this one number 5? I'm like, just sit. Fortunately, I finally got her to sit down, and I was able to run the ride. It's like, it was very stressful. Also, on the Jets later that afternoon, once, parties were gone and it was relaxed again, there were a couple of kids, a couple of little boys. It was just them two. And when they got off, they hugged me. So then, on the boats one day, I hadn't had so much trouble on any ride until this point. I'm sitting over there, on the little boats that have all the bells, and they go ding, 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 and it's really, really annoying, and it kind of starts to give you a headache after a while. Yeah, those. I'm just, over there, and I have an entire they're all full, right? And there's this one little girl, she had to have been, I don't even know, 18 months old? I'm not even sure. She was a smart one, though. The reason I say that is because of what she did. I'm sitting there, I'm running around, a couple times, making sure that everyone's seatbelted, sitting down, in the boat, don't put your hands in the water when it's moving. Okay. They do it anyway. And so, I go over, and so I go over to my bench, and so I start to say, is everybody ready to go? All right, and I'm about to start it, and someone goes, oh, wait, nope, she unbuckled her seatbelt. And I'm like, all right. So I go over, and it's the, 18-month-old. I'm like, what are you even doing? She managed to unbuckle her seatbelt and was just sort of like sitting there. I'm just like, sweetie, you have to buckle your seatbelt. And so, I reach over and I buckle back in thinking, maybe it wasn't that secure. She just sort of pulled it apart the first time. Could happen. So I buckle it back up, make sure it's secure. I start to turn away and she slips her feet out. And her mom's standing right now on the fence, and at this point I feel like she would just be like, oh, she doesn't really want to go, I guess. I'll just take her back, I would have been fully prepared to do that, but no. So the mom goes, oh, I bet she just wants to sit with the little girl in front of her. So I move her up, next to her, thinking that, yeah, maybe, if she has someone to sit next to, she won't be as wiggly. I put her in. It seems to work for a bit, so I go back, I'm like, all right, is everybody ready? And they're like, yeah, and she was sitting, so I started the ride, right? It gets halfway around when she has wiggled her feet out, and it's back on the other side. It's gone like a full revolution, right? And she's wiggled her feet out, and she is starting to stand up, and I'm like, hold the phone! What? No, this is bad. Bad, bad, bad. I mean, I've had kids, crying. I can do that. I just stop the ride as fast as I can. And so I'm like scrambling to stop the ride, right? So I'm like pressing the button, like, why isn't it stopping? Why isn't it stopping? It was so stressful. And so she's, standing up and she's like almost starting to bawl. And finally the ride, stops. And so I go over and I'm like, sweetie, what are you doing? And she's standing up and she starts to climb out on the wrong side. No! If she falls, that will end so badly. No, honey, no! And she stops, freezes, and then just bursts into tears. I'm like, this day could not get any worse. So then finally the father comes in and is like, oh, I'm really sorry about that, Well, duh. You should be. And so, he takes her, I give him the ticket back, they go. And then I can run the ride for the rest with him, but I'm just like, what are you even doing? No, I don't understand. I had to stop the boats for another kid, too, whose parents insisted on letting the kid ride. Like, the kid was clearly unhappy at the beginning of it, and they're like, oh, no, he'll be fine as it goes, he'll get better, he does this all the time. So I'm like, you're the customer, I'll trust you, and goes around a couple once, he's not really thrilled. Goes around again, he's a little bit less thrilled. Goes around a third time, he's starting to get weepy. It goes around a fourth time, and he starts to cry. And they're like, no, you can do it, it's okay, it's alright, you're fine, don't worry, it's okay, you're fine, you can do it. And I'm just like, your kid is crying. And they're like, no, keep it going, he's okay. I'm just like, he's starting to bawl. He's getting louder. Aren't you gonna, do something? And then, finally, they had enough sense to be like, oh, no, you gotta stop it now. He's not happy. And I'm just like, well, duh. Yeah, that was an adventure. Then, there was yesterday evening. I was on the Cars and the Trucks. Thursday. There was one little boy who refused to get on for 2 rounds in a row because he didn't want to share the fire truck. So when he finally gets on, right, he's the first one on, but then a couple other kids get on the fire truck and he shares it perfectly fine. I'm just like, dude, what is your problem? But then it was the freakiest thing. Remember what I mentioned about the ghost or whatever in the bus? Yeah, so yesterday I'm running the ride, right, and there's this one little girl in the back of the bus, and all of a sudden the school bus the buzzer just starts going, the little bzz, 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 that's supposed to be the horn. It just starts going, and it doesn't stop. And so, I stopped the ride, but before I turned the power off, it's still buzzing, and she's just sitting there, and I'm like, this is weird. For the rest of the night, if the kids wanted the buzzer, I had to turn it on. And so the entire rest of the night, that bus just buzzed by itself. There was one point, too, that it shut off by itself in the middle of the ride. And then it turned back on again. I'm like, what is going on? But nothing is as fantastic as what I had to deal with this evening. There was a boy who was probably around 5. He had an accident in one of the balloons. Yep. I have no words. I'll just let you ponder that for a while. Later, this evening, I could have sworn that I saw my 10th grade French teacher. That doesn't sound strange until you realize that she left after my 10th grade year to go to like southern or western New York, where I don't even know if she was teaching anymore, but whatever she was doing, she could look outside her office window and see cows. That's how far away from my area she was, because I live in the suburbs, surrounded by cities. And I thought that a few years ago, she moved to France and married a French guy. I don't know. Or maybe it was Canada. It was a French guy, though. Regardless, I could have sworn it was her because it definitely looked like her. She had a very distinctive nose and like a very wide smile. I mean, it definitely was her, but I don't even know why. Like, what? It was so strange. I was like, Madame? But I don't think she recognized me because I looked right at her. And I think she looked at me. I don't know if she saw me. Like, I don't know if she recognized me. I don't know if she recognized me, if she would remember me. It was just really weird anyway. Also, along the lines of ending rides early, I had to end the balloon ride because a girl who was probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, started crying after about 45 seconds. She was like totally fine and she was with 2 of her friends, and all of a sudden she just started crying and was like, I want to get off, I want to get off. And I'm like, alright, it's coming down, hold on. But because I had to stop it early, 2 of the kids, their mom took them off and just, they assumed it was done. But a couple of the other kids didn't leave immediately. They were like the last to leave, and so I told the mom, I was like, if your kids want to ride again, they can, because I had to cut it short. And they were really happy, and they were like, thank you so much. I'm like, no problem. But yeah, that was my life today. I have no idea what I'm going to be in for tomorrow. Hopefully something as interesting, if not as difficult and frustrating. I really want to learn a new ride, but there's no way I'm going to learn one on a weekend, because weekends are insane. That's okay. I kind of hope I'm at the jets or on the balloons again. The balloons are nice. I do like the balloons. I really hope I'm not on the boats. I hate those bells. The bells are horrible. The trucks aren't so bad. Not so bad. Yeah, I think that's about it. This video is really, really long. By my count, I have about a half an hour of video to give you guys. I'm gonna have to chop that down into something more workable and postable, so this should be interesting. It's probably gonna be a long one. I'll be cutting a lot, I think. Even those stories. It's because I had so many stories. Well, we'll see what happens. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, I was cleaning out my animals. I have a whole lot of them, and when I was doing that, I found this one that I had completely forgotten I ever even owned, and I need to show it to you, okay? Guys, it's a stuffed peep.